So did David want Michael or did David want Michael? You know what I mean? Hints of David was always giving off erotic a lot of the times. And not just so much we want you to join our gang and be a vampire, but you know, why you over there fooling around chasing Staro when you could have all of this? You know what I mean? I don't know. And the people would love to know. I can't stay. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss The Lost Boys. Now this movie is from 1987 and it stars Patric, Kiefer, Sutherland, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, just a whole bunch of good 80s nostalgia here. Now before I get into all things, my own brother, a goddamn blood-sucking vampire. You wait till mom finds out about this, buddy. I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm gonna give you guys a moment to do that. Then we're gonna come back and discuss what were the true intentions of really wanting to turn Michael into a vampire? Because it seems like everybody here had their own agenda. Go back. You guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. But before we jump into the video, I have to give a shout out to the person who paid for it and requested it. So if you happen to cruise the Santa Carla Boulevard looking for necks to suck, it's not because of me. It's because of this person right here. Thank you so much for supporting me and paying for this content. Now this movie was directed by Joel Schumacher, who I always felt like was a jack of all trades, being that he started off as a costume designer, going into being a writer, writing movies like Car Wash, Sparkle, The Wiest, you know, all the black stuff, to later directing movies like The Client, A Time to Kill, Falling Down, and one of my faves, Batman Forever. Now he also did, you know, Batman and Robin, but we ain't gonna act like Mr. Freeze won everything. Or that we didn't want to be Poison Ivy on a good day. This would also mark his very first time working with Kiefer Sutherland, later going on to do things such as Photo Booth, A Time to Kill, and Flatliners. Now, a lot of things did not age too well for me in this movie, and y'all know that I am going to explain why. But what I can say is that does not at all subtract from this movie's legacy and really understanding why it's very relevant then and now as far as the vampire genre of movies is concerned. This really changed the landscape for what vampires were perceived to look and act like, along with so many other staples from the 80s. Prior in the 60s and 70s, a lot of the vampires were an offspring of the Transylvanian Count. We had on a suit, a cape, we're looming in the shadows to bite some unsuspecting victim on the neck, most often a woman. Listen to them, the children of the night. You know, very much so that. Getting into the 80s, we really started to mix it up with more so comedic portrayals in movies like Rockula, Once Bitten, Vamps, or Vampire's Kiss. Child, just completely over the top. Then we really get into hitting a sweet spot in the middle ground with gems like Fright Night. Oh, you're so cool, Brewster. You know, more serious situations like The Hunger. Or also released in 1987 and was completely knocked in the dust by this film, overshadowing it and never gets enough praise or even talked about a little bit. Near Dark, starring my man Bill Paxton. I love me some good old Bill Paxton. Such good films. These vampires were handsome, long-haired, leather-wearing, motorcycle riding, risky, slick, and cool. They just look so damn cool. Like, you know what? It might be a cute situation to, you know, get my little mullet on and be a vampire. They look good. Although a whole lot of that flavor is carried by Kiefer Sutherland, but we're gonna get to that. And unlike a lot of movies prior to this one, the protagonist here, the damsel here, the prey here, the product and eye of affection is a man. Last fire will rise behind those eyes. Black house will rock. Blind boys don't laugh. Immortal fear. That voice so clear through broken walls. That scream I hear cry, little sister, thou shalt not. Just make you want to run through a field in slow motion. Cry Little Sister is just as synonymous with this film as anything else. Now we meet Michael and Sam Emerson along with their recently divorcee mother Lucy, moving to Santa Clara to live with her wacky, eccentric, kooky taxidermy father. You have a TV here? No, I just like to read the TV guide. I read the TV guide. I don't need a TV. Preferring to simply go by Grandpa. Though they're a little broken and clearly strained, the family clearly still loves each other, especially our two brothers. Now, even though the boardwalk and the beach radiate with a ton of people, they also have a tendency to come up missing, never to be seen again. Now, not having the largest budget for this movie, or I'm sure not even the best script, with a lot of rewrites taking place, Joel aging up these characters, wanting to more so have a serious vampire movie. Originally, this was supposed to be more PG, give off Monster Squad, Stand By Me, and most definitely The Goonies. Jason Patric here as Michael, who had to be downright begged forever to take on this role, is amazing here. It is crazy that he did not want to do this movie, and this is the one that I know him mostly for, along with Rush with Jennifer Jason Leigh. Child, if y'all ain't seen Rush, go watch it. Really good movie, because was y'all really on them drugs, or was y'all really on them drugs? But Michael was fine. Michael was so fine here. Michael was so fine here. Walking around, smeltering, smiling, flipping that hair, getting into that jazz solo as they try to get accustomed to Santa Clara. One time for the man all up with his golden hair and ponytail going off on that saxophone. You better play that saxophone. Like, it always cracked me up how much camera time he got. Having all three family members find their footing in a town where there doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to do. Lucy, betrayed here by Dianne Wiest, she is very much giving Edward Scissorhands energy here as a mom. Just Edward, like, she's always had this light and fluffy, effortless way of acting. Like, it's just really, really wonderful. Subtlety, not at all try hard. Getting a job in the video store ran by Max, who seems to be a nice guy. Michael is instantly smitten with the girl he sees, and Sam, comic book lover, meets Edgar and Alan Frog, owners of the comic book store. Bringing us to our two Coreys, Corey Feldman and Corey Haim. Let's get into them child stars. Remember when child stars were really out here acting and you just loved them? This movie and their chemistry set the trend to market them as a duo, having the same name, same age, up-and-coming adolescent actors, collaborating on movies like A License to Drive and so many others. You don't think about one without thinking about the other. Or movies like Silver Bullet, Lucas, Gremlins, The Goonies, or Stand By Me. Unfortunately, you also think about their tragedies. I always watch the both of them here with a grain of salt, especially Corey Haim, because of them being so mistreated and unprotected throughout Hollywood, being abused and it affecting them in their careers so heavily as children. Like, as far as remembering anybody being so vocal about what was really happening in Hollywood behind closed doors, these were the first two that I ever heard mention anything about it. Going from genuine potential, being absolutely magnetic on screen and a joy to watch, to see the down spirals and the drug use and The Two Coreys, the reality show that was on VH1, is truly etched into my mind forever. Fortunately, Feldman come from underneath it all in his strange way, child, and I do mean strange, and still have a productive career and still be vocal about so many other things till this day, and y'all know what those things are. But Haim unfortunately succumbed to his addiction and died at 38 from pneumonia. But seeing them here in their prime, Sam being the unflinched teenager, not really picking up what the Edgar and Allens are putting down about what's really happening in Santa Clara, and reading that vampire comic. I love how tough they are supposed to be, and it's really played for laughs in the end. Y'all really want to be them vampire hunters so bad, and we have all this knowledge and ways of execution. We had low-key have yet to catch any real vampire bodies. No, let's go. We are rebels in the face of execution. No, we gotta get out of here. They put a mind trick on us. They started talking and opened their eyes like Now, leaving those tough guys, we actually get into some real ones with The Lost Boys, which is definitely a Peter Pan reference, you know, never growing old, flying, but just as a vampire. Kiefer Sutherland, like, you your daddy's son. He is such a great actor, and I never realized just how much of those Lost Boys that he carried. Just sensational as a character actor, and always and forever giving you a good villain, a good antagonist, and whatever he does. If you need someone to be demanding, unsettling, scary, creepy, intimidating, just downright icky, he is your man. Captivating and doing a whole lot with what he has. Our other three vampires, who are mostly giving sexy hair metal band of the 80s, they are not so much. The laughing, there is constant laughing in a place where there should have been dialogue to give them some kind of purpose and flesh them out a little bit more. The laughing becomes obnoxious along with the taunting of Michael. They low-key don't have a lot to do. They just simply look good. Now, speaking of simply looking good and not really having anything to do, the women here. Dianne West Lucy, she does a little bit with what she has, which is not a whole lot as far as writing. She does want to be the mom and invest in the kids and the boys, but she's also trying to find herself, find a job, and has a whole lot of interest in video store owner Max, who wants to take her out on all these dates, often just simply coming off as a devoted mom, but really naive at times. Star, I could not stand Star. I cannot stand Star here with a passion. She is literally a half of a half of a half of a character. Then the way that she is written doesn't really seem to justify the ending. Coming off as this mysterious girl who Michael likes, but she also has this strange alliance to this gang and this small child that sometimes feel unwarranted and involuntary. With Michael wanting to mostly be near Star, he accepts David's invitation to scare, thrill seek, challenge his masculinity, and low-key put his life in danger, all the while taking an intense liking to Michael. David really wanted Michael in that gang. We don't more so focus on his relationship with Star. We focus on the one that David wants to have with him in correlation to this gang. A lot of the time, Star is really irrelevant as far as Michael is concerned if it's not about attraction, lust, or her needing to be rescued. After all, a lot of the events here take place in the course of one night. He really doesn't even know Star outside of I like what I saw. Even though it's disguised under the eye of peer pressure and are you strong enough, are you man enough, can you do what I do? Between the deep dark sanctuary cave, glamoring the rice and the noodles to look like worms and maggots, constantly chanting his name, I was so annoyed at how many times they said Michael in this movie. Michael, 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 oh Michael. I was like, oh my goodness, could y'all not think to write anything else on the line? Between that and the point of us eventually getting him to sip the Kool-Aid, Star giving off the meek, timid, scared, oh no, Michael, you don't have to. It's blood. Like, it wasn't doing anything. Eventually, we get to the point of him drinking the blood and him fantasizing about Star in that moment that eventually transitions into David's face going, Michael, Michael. It's very come hither. Moving forward, where it was, oh, I'm attaching myself to this gang, trying to impress the likes of Star, showing them I can hang. If I'm around them, that means I get to be around her. Star is somewhere gone. We don't even see Star anymore. We move forward with him hanging on to the tracks and the bridge and leaping off and, Michael, come with us, be with us, you're one of us. Like, it turned into an erotic like chant where David seems to be really into Michael, and it's not just solely about him being one and becoming part of the gang. It really feels like more of a companion. Whereas we have Star, who from my understanding is supposed to be under David's control, or maybe they're using the beauty that Star possesses to lure in potential victims. Michael, though interested in Star, stuck around because he was equally interested and intrigued by this gang and the likes of David. What saves a lot of this movie is the cinematography. This movie looks good. From the costuming to the music, the cinematography plays a really big role here, as well as that really good lighting, casting shadows, illuminated. We played with a lot of oranges here, fire, red, fog, smoke, wind, leaves. It really comes together to make this a cohesive situation, as well as the effects that we get on the vampires. It's really simplistic and it holds up well still to this day. And then you have Sam. Why I really love Sam, especially the brotherhood of it all. Throughout the entire movie, no matter what's going on, even though Sam is clearly in fear of his life, he keeps pushing himself beyond that fear just to make sure that he's there for his brother, who has a change in his attitude, is constantly wearing sunglasses, sleeping late, irritable, and has a painful loss of appetite that eventually turns into a bloodlust. That's when he's barely casting a reflection in the mirror. Oh my God, no, help, Mom, he's gonna kill me. Like, I love that scene when he is flying and levitating out of that window. But above all else, the way that their relationship and their brotherhood trumps everything, and he casts aside that fear in the name of brotherhood, no matter what's going on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna support you in any way that I can, even if you are turning into a blood-sucking vampire. So my favorite characters here are Grandpa's ass and Nanook the dog. Nanook was the smartest thing in the movie. Now, getting into Michael beginning to change and making the decision to choose Star over David. Metaphorically in my mind, don't give me both scenarios. Star was engaging just as much as Michael and David was. We spent a lot of time trying to make Max look like a potential victim, but we don't really do a good job at it. The movie shows every single victim of these Lost Boys, if they at all show to be a little bit of a threat. The Lost Boys roll up and later take them out, at which another missing poster is thrown up. Max makes it very clear he doesn't like them, wants nothing to do with their gang, and would appreciate it if you guys didn't frequent my store. But we have them kind of rolling up, antagonizing, playing around with him to try to make it seem like he could be a victim when we know what they do with victims, so he couldn't possibly be that. I wish they had kind of been a little standoffish more with Max and lean more into the nice guy, and not at all really double down on the fact that it may be him. He could be the hand vampire, having Thorn chase poor Lucy for dear life. See if he chokes on this garlic or casts a reflection in this mirror. Is he the head vampire? Oh no, he isn't. Oh, Michael, since you're the man of the house, I'm not coming in until you invite me. I'm like, oh, y'all just put a sign on his head. That could have been handled with a little bit more subtlety to where that reveal of him in the end could have been a whole lot grander. But who knows with this movie, being that there are a ton of deleted scenes for it, even a whole character. Haley Joel Minter was supposed to be in this movie, and I distinctly remember seeing her name in the credits under the name Maria. Now, I always recognize Shorty's name because she was one of the first characters in a horror movie. I believe it was Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Child that I saw survive all the way up until the end, as well as other horror movies like Popcorn or another horror classic where she also survived, like The People Under the Stairs. She was in this movie. She had a whole role here that was cut because why? Would have been one of the only black places that we saw in Santa Clara in this movie and whatnot, but they chose to make her character obsolete. I would love to see what those scenes would have been and if this would have maybe been another movie where she survived as a black woman in the 80s in a horror movie. How this film was writing the female characters, we really don't know. But you know what really would have made my day with this movie? Like when Max comes over for dinner and we have Grandpa conveniently eat in his taxidermy room. Like, Grandpa knew what was going on the entire time. Like, I wanted to know so much more about Grandpa. I wanted to know why all of these things were happening, and Grandpa clearly knows about it, knows Max's intentions, but doesn't really say anything. I was unsure if the movie wanted us to see that he was prepping to because he knew the whole time, was he prepping to retaliate and protect them, or was he just being kooky, goofy grandpa it's very unclear. It adds to why we like his character so much, but I always want answers and want to know more about him. What's up with all the taxidermy? Were you eating those animals? Are you part vamp? What's going on? What's happening? Tell us something, Grandpa. We literally wait a whole hour. I was like, it's an hour before they actually vamp out, an hour before he sees the gang exposed to him, what their true intentions are. Love the shots, love the imagery. Once again, like I said, the cinematography here and the direction is everything. It saves a lot of this movie where it needs saving. But I'm not going to act like I was not bothered at the fact we have to sit and listen to Michael go through the motion once he goes home. This is my first time realizing what I am. Start asking, can I come up? You see how she just came up and came into the house, even though she was also a vampire this whole time, and they made it seem like the vampires could be invited in without invitation. But oh no, she's not fully a vampire yet, because just like Michael, she hasn't fed. This is the first real time that we have her speak full sentences in the movie. Where Michael is, that wasn't wine, was it? It was his blood. So why didn't you warn me? Why? Because you can't, you just now figuring out you a vampire, all right? But the narrative changes so many times with why they wanted to turn him. First, we have Star go, oh, it's because you liked me. If you had never followed me or been attracted to me, David wouldn't have put me on you and request that you be my very first victim. Whereas when we first meet him, David is not only trying to come in between them, but acting as if he wants David for his gang and for himself. So when did he put you on that duty? And then she also has this savior thing happening to where she's hoping that Michael can save her, as well as the little boy that is also in their captivity that has yet to feed also. A little conflicting. And then by the time we get towards the end and we have Max give that grand reveal, oh, it's been about you this whole time, Lucy. I put my son on you to turn your sons so that we could be one big happy family and you wouldn't have any reason to resist me because we would all be vampires. Pick one. It's left up to Sam and the Frog Brothers to prep and take down these vamps solo dolo. Now, this is the portion of the movie that I feel like we revert more back into the Goonies feel of things. The vampires become a lot less menacing. I feel like the scenarios get a bit more comical. The first stab, all the screaming that happens. The only person that was doing what needed to be done is Kiefer. Did you see the tear? Did you see the tear? We commence the climax of the movie. still looks really good. Still looks really, really good. Now, like I said, the vamps are a bit more comical. Everybody except for Kiefer. It's, one death by stereo, try again, pal, good try. Like, it's very, very 80s and very, very cheesy at this point. What does hold up are the special effects during the transformation, as well as the death scenes of the vampires. The fight between Michael and David is still really, really good. There is a lot of intensity there. This is the first and only time that we see fully transform and have to fight David. I love that even at that moment, even though all the homies done died, David is still like, I really don't want to kill you because you're not, come on, boo, like, oh. I really don't want to kill you. Like, if you just come on over here and conform to, the girls and whatnot, like, we could just live our best life in the cave. But like, what's up? You really want to run off and live your best life with Star? Like, we could be a thing. I'm just playing. I'm really digging into that. But you cannot tell me that when David actually dies and lands on those antlers, it is not the most sensual, erotic looking death. It looks like he is climaxing. To only find out what we've known this whole time, David wasn't actually the head of the vampires, and it's been Max this entire time. I love the way that Lucy is just about to give herself over. Like, oh, did you even gonna try, Lucy? She was about to just give herself over to be bitten by Max. Like, girl, no. And of course, we have Grandpa come in and save the day in the end. In the kookiest way that only he can. It's one thing about Santa Clara I could never stomach. All the damn vampires. Like, what was going on the whole time? Why didn't you say nothing? Why didn't you try to help us? I had a good time watching this movie. I was really surprised at how much stuff didn't age well to me, give or take a few things. But it really goes to show your lens when you are watching something as a kid versus when you're watching it as a full-grown adult, especially with my ass. Being a movie buff ruins everything. I'm always paying attention to little stuff like, drop down and let me know if you felt like, David and Michael was, trying to have a little dang around the house. I would love to know. This will always and forever be a cult classic as far as vampire movies is concerned. And I feel like it aged really well in some aspects, not so much in others, but I will continue to watch it and love it no matter what. Well, you guys, that was my review for The Lost Boys. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop down and let me know if you did. Who is your favorite character from this movie? Favorite scene? All of that, I would love to know. I see you guys next time for my next review. Bye.